Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's your favorites on your screens and in your ears again. It's the Big Five with Tev and Ty. We back again. This is episode 3 of this year. Episode 18 all in all. And we're doing really well, man. Really, like you said last week, I think we're about at the 6-month mark if we looking to put each episode per week. So really doing well, on the up and up. I'm really enjoying the kind of fluidity we're having with our show. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of interesting topics we're tackling. And like we said in the first episode of this year, that we have quite a lot planned for this year. Guests, notable guests. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Tyler, man, good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Apologies. There was a technical difficulties with the past 2 episodes with the sound. This one should sound better, we think. That's on me. Don't blame our sound guy for that one. That's on me. But yeah, man, we're back. We're back. It feels good. Thanks, Tasty Tev. I appreciate it, man, as always, you know.
I'm still working on a really cool nickname for you. I was thinking like spitballing terrific Ty, but I was like, that's a bit pop. I need something that's going to really stick and something that's going to get listeners and viewers to be like, yeah, that's a top-notch name. So,
but how you feeling? How you feeling about Tasty Tev though? Not quite. It's
got some appeal, man. It means we're cooking something. It means we're cooking.
Okay,
so for now, I think it'll stick. It'll stick.
Fair
I like it. I can work with it.
Okay.
So whilst I sit here, ponder, and try to think of a great nickname for you, how about you take us into the fun fact for this week?
Yes, sir. Okay, so we are going to be speaking a little bit of Valentine's Day, based on the fact that we kind of Valentine's Day would have just passed by the time we release this episode. And our fun fact is perhaps not so fun, but it is a fact about some of the kind of foundations of the actual holiday or celebration. So basically, Valentine's Day was initially a Roman fertility festival. And let me read the fact. So it may be difficult to believe given how innocuous the holiday is nowadays, but the roots of Valentine's Day stem from a bloody pagan fertility festival dating back to the 6th century before Christ. Every year, between February 13 and 15, Romans celebrated Lupercalia by sacrificing animals and slapping women with their hides, which was believed to make them more fertile. Later, Britannica.com noted, the woman would be paired with men by lottery. So maybe not quite the most romantic way to find your significant other, but hopefully the slapping with the hides is something that's in the past, I guess.
Yes, I think we're so oblivious to where these celebrations and notable days on our calendar come from. So thanks for that one. Something to be done in every household, I think, as we review and revise what our Valentine's Day practices will be from this day going forward. I'm quite taken aback with that.
I would like to say, though, on the big vibe, we don't kink shame, but that one might be a little bit beyond our scope. So. Yeah,
that's the end of the scale, guys. I think it might just be just a touch on that one. And yes, Valentine's Day was always the notable day in the calendar, even at school. People going out of their way to doing this loud and elaborate display of affection. Which makes me just think about a lot of things from back in the day. And it's actually one of the questions that we ran this week. We asked you guys, what's one item, a thing, or a trend that you miss from 10 plus years ago? And we got quite a few reactions there. Thank you to those of you that participated. Let us know your opinion. I'll start us off. I think the first one, or notable one, I remember seeing was BBM. If you guys remember good old BBM, man, you're also right in between the Mixit days and the WhatsApp days, there was BBM, and everyone had like the baseline one. If you were elite, you had like the BBM or the BlackBerry Bold, that was like the square one. But if you were a curved person, the color range, bruh.
Yeah.
50 bucks, and I think you got unlimited internet.
For the month, unlimited, yeah. And what I remember a lot about that is obviously you get your memories on Facebook now, and it's often like you're posting your pin or asking for pins. But I remember, I seem to remember the names. Like actually, Tasty Tev would have been a good one with like emojis.
And then have that emoji that. Yeah.
Everybody listening should know what we're talking about here with those, with the names, the dollar signs, the emojis. Good days.
Man, people are creative. I give people a lot of credit. I think like Ruben, Salman, all of those guys had such really creative names. So credit to you boys. And another entry of our feedback from the question this week was Wii U.
Yeah, like the Wii.
WIIU.
Yeah, I think it's the sport. Like remember the game that you would play.
Yeah, I think this was like right when we were looking to start getting kids to be more active. So there was the whole conspiracy that kids only want to stay indoors and not have any balance in their lives by going out to play sports of any kind. And then we came on the scene, and there was the tennis that I know everyone loved. There was the boxing that was apparently so hard. You could never beat that guy. I think there was golf as well. So
yeah,
we was fun at a time, man. I definitely remember playing that at a couple people's houses. We had Mario and Super Mario, which is obviously such a sick one. I think there was a movie that's also coming out now. I haven't.
Who's voicing it?
It's out
Chris
yet.
Pratt. I think it's Chris Pratt. Yeah,
exactly.
Can see where that one goes.
For our nostalgia purposes, we should all look to buy a ticket for the cinema experience and see how closely they align into the game.
Interesting.
Hopefully it's as successful, like in kind of doing the storytelling aspect of it. Like I hear The Last of Us is doing that really well from the show series in comparison to the game.
Yeah,
I need to get on board with them, man.
That's fire. You gotta watch it.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but it's fire, dude. You gotta watch it.
I need to see that. And then Cartoon Network, man.
Great shout.
Yeah. Cartoon Network just isn't the same anymore, man. Back in our day, I remember back in the day, like especially late at night, you'd have to wait up quite late to see Wacky Races.
Yeah, that was a late night show.
A really, really good one for me. Johnny Bravo, Courage, Powerpuff Girls was the in thing. I think I might be confusing.
Do you remember like kind of I would say like late, for us it would be late age Cartoon Network, but the time of like Codename Kids Next Door, Megas XLR. I felt like that's when I really loved Cartoon Network when I was a bit younger, but like it started becoming peak like when those kinds of shows came on, but always at the most challenging times to watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was never, like, an easy, early time to watch that. So it was always on at, like, 12 or, like,
Exactly. Put it on when you know we're going to be home, man. Like, I think that's why shows like Dragon Ball Z did so well. Because you knew after school, 5 o'clock, after your granny was done watching Days of Our Lives or whatever it was, right after that,
slot.
Dub comes on and he's busy.
Get you ready.
Getting you ready for the show before he says goodbye. So that was actually such a good time, and I don't think shows these days. I also think that cartoons these days are a lot more centered, not only for kids but for adults as well, or young adults, which is quite strange sometimes when you watch some of the shows, like the regular show as an example. There are just so many
Adventure Time.
Themes that would go over kids' heads, but as an adult, you'd be like, "Whoa, damn, that's dark, bro."
Yeah, I agree. But I think it's like you said, it's quite true. But I think we're also in a different age right now with streaming services and stuff, and YouTube being what it is. Like, they can make these kinds of things a lot more accessible. Maybe I should actually do some market research and actually speak to some of my middle school students and ask them kind of what, but they're very much into gaming now. It's like Minecraft and that kind of stuff. But yeah, let me check and see what I can come back with.
No, that's a proper shot. And I think we got a few more answers if you want to jump through those quickly.
Yeah, one of the cool ones that I heard was, or that I read, should say, was Comedy Central. I kind of felt that was a nice bridge.
Yeah.
You know, like when I'd say high school was when Comedy Central was kind of at its peak. And yeah, I felt like that was a cool network to have for that kind of in-between phase. And then the last one, quite funny. So the question is, what item from 10 plus years ago would you bring back? And somebody said, me. It has been all downhill since then.
Oh man, it's true, man. They say after 25, bro, it's downhill because now everything starts to ache, pain. You had so many aspirations about getting into the working world, and now Mondays are like, do I have to go to work, man? When's my next paid time off? Good rough, man. Sure. Adulting, they say it's the biggest scam in the world.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think I hear that. But start a podcast if you have nothing to do. It's easy, they say.
Man.
So let me give my two shouts that I had from 10 years ago. Multiplayer games. That's the first one that I felt.
Great
just a split screen session. A FIFA. I mean, I know you can play online with your mates now, and maybe I'm underappreciating it because we didn't really have that life growing up. I know a lot of my students spend lots of time gaming together, but ain't nothing like a good old Left 4 Dead, kind of Halo session with the mates, late nights.
That is nice.
And my second one from 10 plus years ago would be Young Money, Lil Wayne, Wheezy, because I remember that guy for me in high school was prime. So I miss that. Bring him back from 10 years ago.
And lyrically, man, Lil Wayne lines were just like, what? I think I recall filthy. His track with Drake, She Will. Top tier. Every single lyric there is just like, what?
Yeah.
He's proper. Honestly. And that's, like you say, I miss genuine rap where it doesn't have to be too woke. Like, I think that's kind of the scales these days. You either like super woke and you like Kendrick, where I must pause the track every 5 seconds and be like, did you get that line, bro? Did you get that line? No, there's some innuendo there or double entendre that you didn't pick up on. It's just like mumble rap that's got a really sick beat, but it's nothing lyrically. So Wayne was perfectly in the middle there. Great beats, lyrical content that was surpassing everyone at the day. So proper shots. I think for me as my two, I must getting gifts in Simba chip packets, bro. Where the Tazos, where the collectibles. Tazos. For anyone that didn't go through that phase, man.
You missed out.
I think it was a weekly or a monthly thing where Simba would put in Tazos. I think it started with like Pokemon Tazos first, and then it evolved from being like a plasticky, round, circular disc to a metal one with Dragon Ball Z characters. And the point of the objective was to try and flip over your opponent's token. Man, break times were sick. Marbles were actually a really cool second place there. What else do I miss, man? Oh, I'm gonna say the Spurs song, man. They've remixed that thing a lot, and I don't like the new version. But OG Spur, they'd collect everyone in the restaurant, come to you, and you'd be like, what's going on? And then you go,
and everyone's like looking over their neck,
and you get that guy. Everybody on this day. Everybody on this day. Today is Tyler's birthday. Today is Tyler's birthday. Say ho, ho, yeah, hey, happy birthday. And they kept that off with that smiling clown thing with the sparkler. They just don't do birthdays like that anymore. So those are my two things.
Okay.
I definitely wish I had back.
Let me ask you a question quickly, just to go back to the Tazos and the marbles. I don't know what it was like in your hood, your primary school, but for us, we had seasons. Every year, you could rely on. There would be a phase where it would be Tazos, and then it would be phased out, and then it would turn into marbles, and then it would be phased out. And we also had tops with the rope, the string that you put around the top.
Yeah.
Did it happen at you guys as well, that you kind of had seasons for all of these things?
We did, and you even throw in a Beyblade there, man. And we were like,
when you were feeling
in the in the arena,
in the octagon. I got you. Yeah,
but it definitely was seasonal. Yeah. Honestly, that was the thing when it was break time. If you weren't playing soccer or open gates or anything of that sort, or fly, those were definitely the go-tos. And I remember, I think later on in primary school, so marbles always used to be, okay, cool, I'll hit your marble, you hit my marble. But then we evolved into, started playing bricks.
Yes, with the two
almost
fingers,
like
you have to get it through the middle.
Rounds, and people used to play when close enough to your marble, and they hit you with stulo and scaro and things like that. And Nick's Judge My Style was probably the worst, because people started getting out of hand, man. Yo, what was a simple stulo here? Nick's Judge My Style. I remember one time I was playing and this guy was like, Nick's Judge My Style. And he threw my marble across the field, man. And where am I going to find it? There's no chance I'm going to get it back. Nick's Judge My Style is the one trick that shouldn't be allowed in marbles for anyone that's on the board of marbles in the world. Write it off, man.
I love that. That's so cool, man. It's really cool to know, like, it was kind of universal, you know, like what we were doing at our primary school was also happening across the pond, you know. I mean, not across the pond because we weren't that far apart, but I think that's so sick, man.
I miss those days.
That's a great start to the episode. Really, really cool. So now let's jump into our accountability catch up.
Yes. You have a very notable one. I think we should run with you first. You are the headline act this week.
Okay.
For anyone that wasn't a part of our shows this year, could you just give some light as to what your accountability practice is?
So I mentioned that I wanted to start initially called it a blog. I probably will still stick to it being a blog, but it's more actually a central point for all the kind of content and stuff that I've created. And then I said that I'd like to write in it weekly, and I said in the first episode of the year that I was building the website, and then I mentioned that I think it actually is in the bio for last week's episode. So if you want to check out the website, and I started a Twitter account, Instagram account, everything that goes with it. I started that thing. It's called Just Another Backpack. And the idea behind that is basically how I wanted to have an analogy or draw parallels between, you know, having a backpack, what it means to carry your backpack, and making the choices and the selections when it comes to having a backpack, right? You can't just carry everything with you. You have to be a little bit practical. And it's kind of like in life, our backpacks change, our lives change, we learn lessons, we forget things, we put things in. By now at this point, there should be maybe 2 or 3 posts up by now. I wrote just the one that explains it. Then I wrote one about what we spoke about people playing certain roles in your life. That one's also published at this point. And the third one is an Arsenal one, being an Arsenal fan in 2023 and why that is so great. Something we might touch on a little bit later. So it's up and running. I feel like I'm keeping my accountability plans in check. Pretty happy with it, I'm not gonna lie. So thanks for giving me the space to use our pod to plug it a little bit. But I will also say, on that page, I plug
Yeah.
the pod. Like, there's a pod on the website. If you scroll down, under more stuff, it actually has the big vibe, and then it pulls people there, and then it has like a photography website, like where you can see like pictures that I've taken.
Yeah.
So I do plug the pod as well. So I got you. Guys.
Selfless. This guy, he's like that bag. If you see the bag, if you're watching this on YouTube and you see there's the bag behind him, that's what Tyler is. He's absolute gold, guys. This man isn't just giving us great lyrical content. He's not just giving us great audio content, but he's giving us great life lessons as well. So really go check that out. Awesome. And the man's going to keep us updated, giving us, great content.
For sure.
And we just look forward to reading so much more. Like I mentioned last time, it's such a relatable topic that you decided to touch on. And I think it is, as you said, evergreen. Because it's something that will happen. It's something that has happened. So to have almost like a reference point for us to go back to kind of digest and try and make sense of the situations that every one of us are in. Thank you for that. My accountability, I said I was going to be working on DaVinci Resolve. So getting a few more insights into it, especially with the motion graphics part. So I saw quite a few tutorials that I'm looking to put into practice. So hopefully I can do like a 5-second, 10-second animation, even if it's a small one, and I can maybe put that on our socials or something to that effect. But for this week, I tried to do something different on the creative front. So I also spoke about getting into creative writing and looking to use that as an expression, a form of expression.
Yeah.
So I've written a short poem. I'll dedicate it to my wife in relation to Valentine's Day.
Nice one.
Yeah, this is bold, man. I'm not great with words and poems, so
You got
this
this.
is all for you guys. This is all for you guys. Okay, cool. So I'll jump straight into it. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? But how and in what way? For the words don't do justice, nor could they accurately convey the love and admiration which I hold so dear, that flows like streams of gratitude towards your welcoming ear. Your presence is big and warm as the sun, a year on from I do's, and we've only just begun. With the 14th of Feb coming up, what more can I say? If flowers truly are the order of the day, then you're the hydrangea bouquet that brightens up any day.
Wow.
That's me, man. That's me.
Have one of those.
That's to you,
I think
Leaf.
this is how they clap for poetry, right? That's like that's the thing. Wow,
Snaps,
Tev, that's
snaps.
incredible. Lise, I hope you enjoyed
Thanks.
that. That was really cool. Nice. You wrote that all.
Sure.
I know, obviously, Shall I Compare Thee is a famous
Yeah, I
Shakespeare.
needed, the rest, something to start off with. So
the rest all
run
you?
with that, man. Oh, the rest all me, man. The
You
rest
sure?
all me. Yeah, no
Ghost Riders?
ChatGPT there. Yeah, no Ghost Rider Drake's there.
Wow,
me.
that's a nice one, boy. That's
Thanks
sick.
for
And
the
also, I
platform,
must
man.
of course, I must also just commend you. It's not easy, no matter what size people think of the blog, I mean of the pod, right? It's maybe it's not a huge thing at this point, or whoever knows, whatever. But to put yourself out there like that, it takes real courage, my G. You know that, like you remember the first time we posted the first pod? It's like scary, and then the first time, and then when I first posted the blog, it's challenging. So well up to you, my G, for reading that out. That's not a easy thing, and I think people take it lightly. But you ask people to stand up and recite a poem that they just haven't even written, they'll struggle. So that's sick that you did it yourself, man. Really,
Thanks,
well
man.
done.
Thank you for giving me the platform. Hopefully, I can continue to work on that, get a little better, and then maybe a poem becomes a short story, becomes a screenplay, and next thing you know, you're not just listening to the big vibe, you're watching it because there's a series about the big vibe.
Stop
Just
animation
saying, man,
vibes.
Plans are in place.
They are. So after that wonderful poem, I think I might know your feelings already based on the content of your poem. But let's spitball some ideas on our thoughts on Valentine's Day? Just in general. I mean, we spoke about Christmas when it was around. We shared what we like, what we didn't like. So how's about you run me through what's your general feeling towards the day? Pros and cons, that kind of thing.
I'll speak again about commercialization of the day. Similar to Christmas, we spoke about that being kind of a negative, is how much people get away with a card being a normal card. But if as soon as I attach it to Valentine's Day, I include the word love, suddenly it goes from being £10 to being a £20 card, as an example. But yeah, I do like the fact that maybe people don't necessarily take love or a day out to show and express their love for their partners, or this secret admirer that you might have for people that aren't in relationships. I do appreciate that it's at least one day a year that people make an effort. But as cliche as it sounds, every day should be a Valentine's Day. But I do think to make it your own, I think it doesn't necessarily have to be on the day, but you can choose a few days or some time just to set aside so you can have some quality time with your significant other. I think that's really important. If your partner loves flowers, definitely make an effort to get them flowers. If they're a cards person, I think Valentine's Day should look to best express your significant other's love language. So love language was a thing I only came across, I think, about a year or so ago. And I believe it's physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time,
acts of kindness.
Acts of kindness, and then I don't know what the last one is.
So
for the listeners and viewers out there, maybe do the quiz. There's so many online free quizzes.
They are.
To find out what your love language is, as well as your significant others. You can get them to do that. But yeah, if they love words of affirmation, shower them with that. Write them notes, write them cards. And don't just do it on the 14th. You guys have so much liberty to do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think. What about you? I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's very easy to turn cynical and be like, oh yeah, commercialization and everything. But you sometimes just have to extract what good there is there. Obviously, we know prices are inflated, and so on and so forth. Roses are more expensive than they ever are. I think I remember reading that when I was doing some research for this episode, that it's like 750 million cards are sold in the US alone. So it's a lot. It's big money, of course. And but I do think it goes beyond that. And I think, like you said, making it your own is quite cool. And if it's just an excuse to go on a date with your significant other, I don't see the problem with that. It doesn't have to be on the day if you think it's a bit pricey or whatever the case, or if it's not really within your means. But I do think it's a nice moment to be able to share. Like you said, yeah, sure, every day should be Valentine's Day, but we do get caught up in life, and it's a good excuse for us to actually express how we feel about one another. So I think
so true.
That's
and
a good
gestures, are you a big gesture guy? Can you recall anyone, be it yourself or anything you've read about, of someone doing some massive gesture for Valentine's Day that's kind of stuck out for you? It's just like wow, these are the extents that people go to.
Maybe if I were to think, you always see the kind of hot air balloon stories, you see that kind of stuff. I would say to an extent I am a gesture guy. I think it can be nice, but I don't think you always have to do it. But I think you have to do something, and I think sometimes we mistake gestures for spending a lot of money. If you are somebody who buys your partner lots of gifts, for me a big gesture would be to hand make a card, right? Because it's so far out of your norm that's what actually makes the whole thing stand out, is that it's not that you spent more money than you usually did, it's that wow, I actually wasn't expecting this kind of thing. Or like if you are, you know, whatever it is, you know, or if you don't eat a specific food, but you know your significant other loves it, you book a restaurant to go do that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the thing with gestures, is you have to understand that a big gesture is not necessarily financial, but it should come from not making you feel uncomfortable, but from a space where it's kind of out of the ordinary almost. What about you? You a big gestures, tasty Tev kind of guy? What's the styles here? I mean, you just read a poem on a podcast for your wife. I don't know if it gets bigger than that, but yeah, tell me.
Yeah, man. I think previously I would kind of use societal trends as a reference point. Like, okay, you must do the flowers, you must do the card, and the big Ferrero Rocher or Lindt or whatever it is, and it must be this very grand or elaborate thing that is reserved solely for this day, and then a birthday as an example. But
yeah,
I think I've paid more attention as to what Lisa's love language is, and playing into that, and also, like you said, making it special in our own way. Big notable gesture doesn't necessarily have to equal monetary spend. You can literally have a, let's call it a fine dining night in, with us speaking quite a few times about getting into culinary practices and trying new recipes and doing that kind of thing. I think that's a really nice way to make a romantic night. Back home, we had Eskom playing you a through ball when you had candlelit dinners, whether you wanted it or not. So playing into these kind of things does help, and just making, like I said, setting time aside to have quality time with your person, whether that's indoors, outdoors, wherever that is. Just getting that quality time, I think, to
Oh, I like
spend
that.
time together.
I like that. So now we spoke about the nice things. I think I on some episodes I'm going to be introducing a segment of the show that we will be calling, I don't know. I mean, I know we have I Read It First, so maybe we'll just run with that for this. So I found a question, right? And you know, like sometimes people want to be single over Valentine's Day. It can be expensive. There's lots of theories as to why it can be expensive. It can be that you actually want to go on that because maybe people are feeling a little bit more vulnerable. You get real dogs out there that are trying these things. But the Reddit question that I came across is called, what's a shallow reason you used to justify not dating someone? And I just found 5 answers that really stood out to me here. The first one, and I want you to tell me how you feel about this, if you think this is a good enough reason to break up with someone, okay? So the first one was, not sure what it's called, but when someone smiles and they have big gums.
I've heard about this quite a few times. We're like, petty. But I understand. But I understand. You know, they always say you have a childish smile when your teeth are like that big and your gums. I understand. I don't condone it, but I understand.
Fair enough. I get that. Yeah, I get that. The second one, this for me 100% a deal breaker. She cleaned her ears with the keys to her car.
Nah. We done. There's no
I don't
way
think
you can
that's
come
shallow.
back from that. Oof.
I don't think that's shallow.
No, you can't even come back from that. That's
nasty. That's
having good morals and set of values as a person.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like, if you can do that, what else can you do?
Exactly. And out of 4 items, you've gone for the car keys. I've seen some people use pens, and that's a bit closer to an earbud, but
it's still pretty nasty. But car keys,
it is.
Number 3. This one killed me. She had a hole in her sock and her toe popped out. Her toenail was really long and it freaked me out. I couldn't get over it, which is a shame because she was an amazing person and pretty hot.
Man. Again, this is some things that will throw you, man.
Just through the sock, imagine.
Keeping out. Like, Take note of me. You can use that to like point out. No, dude. I think you did well there.
I got you.
did
I
well.
got you. On a similar note, what also kind of bugs me sometimes is, have you seen like sometimes when people's feet kind of creep over their pluckies, like they they hang.
Dear life. The death grip.
I can't deal with that. I don't know.
No. That's why feet, man. I always went by a rule, like as a dude. If you are, there are prerequisites to you wearing flip-flops outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
1, you're living in a coastal town. 2, you're over the age of 50. What was the third one? There was a third one that made a lot more sense. It has to go with the look. So don't be one of those guys that are wearing a 3/4 with slops or a suit or any kind of smart cash look.
Yes, jeans and flops. Jeans and flops.
Man. No,
I think that's.
And also wash your flops, man. There's so many people with Havianas that look like they've trekked the Great Wall of China.
Hey, they've been around the block.
Man, please, man. Come on.
Yeah, do better. Do better.
Please.
Okay, number 4. I kind of agree with this one. I don't think this is petty, but watching reels on her phone with sound while I'm asleep in bed.
Yeah, you're not a considerate person, man.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I kind of feel the same way. It's just like you can do better. You can do better than that.
Yeah,
you know,
come on, set the bar a bit higher than that.
Yeah.
Somebody's a golden. She is.
And then the final one. I immediately thought of you when I read this one. So just hear me out.
Oh, I wonder if it's a good or bad thing. Go.
I used to think dating a girl that is taller than me was not acceptable, which, as a short guy, is severely limiting because for whatever reason, short girls like tall guys and a surprising number of tall girls like short guys. Can you attest?
Short kings, bro. Short kings.
Short
this
kings,
is our
it's your
season.
time.
We've actually walked into our blessings. Short kings, all of you out there, us with like a gnome profile, you can sit in your garden, that kind of thing. But honestly speaking, short kings, don't overthink it. It's one of those gifts that has come our way. I think jump on it. Don't be too self-critical, man. I know I was like, since I'm so short, I must now find someone that's either my height or shorter than me, which, like this person said, can prove quite tough. I mean,
because they want tall guys.
That's true. That's what they want. Everyone wants an NBA player, and if you're not an NBA player, then you have to be like the Hulk. So it's not leaving me a lot to work with. But I found my niche. So
you did.
To all the short kings there. You guys
there we go.
Up and up. We striving.
I saw a thing the other day. What was it? Woman dating short kings. Remember to lock the door. The hawks are hunting tonight.
They keep us safe. Thank you to all the tall ladies. Short kings, man. Own it, bro. Own it.
Yeah. Okay. Nice one. I think that was quite a cool.
That's actually such a cool thing that you found. Again, Reddit. Oh, you have all
Reddit
the best
comes
things
through,
in
man.
there.
Reddit
has something for everyone. Honestly,
It's
an amazing.
It's much like Twitter in that you need to kind of tailor it and shape it into what you need it to be. But I think if you don't have time for that, just come to the Big Vibe. We got you. We
got you. We cater for you guys.
Yeah. And then Tev, we got to get serious just for a quick moment here. For a quick moment, okay? And I think this is within the theme of love and et cetera. And it's been something on my mind now. Last week we spoke about the Premier League. We spoke about transfer season. We spoke about all these things. Unfortunately for us, our timing was like 2 days short. Yeah, because the next day, I think actually the very next day, the Premier League brought up charges against Manchester City for breaking financial fair play rules, allegedly 115 or so counts of... I don't want to go into too much detail, but just for those of you that don't know, Manchester City is now allegedly being accused by the Premier League of breaching financial fair play rules, which basically are there to balance the scales between the rich and the not as rich clubs. They did this in the form of like shadow sponsorships, contracts that weren't in the books, kind of like things like that, which, to be fair to Man City, I think happens more than we realize. But the Premier League has gone big with this, and they've come out and I think they have intentions of doing something. Otherwise, why would they bring it up? My question is this, I don't want to know your feelings on specifically or on the accusations or whatever. I want to know, as a fan who I would guess loves his club, although your loyalty is questionable when it comes to football, but as a fan who I guess loves his club, how did this story make you feel?
I'd like to plead the fifth. Yeah, it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was a shock, because given that last year or 2 or so years ago, there was the UEFA. CAS scandal. That was obviously the talk of the town at the time. This, I think, is a whole different kettle of fish. The level or the extent of the accusations are severe. I think if City is found guilty of this, they need to throw the book at City. I mean, there's talk about Premier League expulsion, and that the Championship might not even have an obligation to take them on, so meaning League 2. Fines, there's talk about titles being stripped, etc., 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 and points deductions. So it was kind of so I wouldn't say it was a shock. It was a really sad outcome, or at least event to see happen. I think for City, and this is going to sound very biased, but there's always been chat about the original top 4, top 6, the established teams with all the history in the world, as you guys like to put it, the ones that are the hallmark of English football. So we're going to say Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, I'll even throw Newcastle in there.
Or Everton or something like that.
For decades upon decades upon decades, there's always been the established 4. Yeah. Uncontested. They're just going to vary in terms of where they finish. But these are the people that can spend all the money, they can get in the right player, right manager, etc., build their facilities. And I think in the takeover with City at the end of 2009, that brought a bit of a change to the regular running of the league. And I think Gary Neville made a very good point in the overlap on Sky, and he said, look, I understand that revenue, there's 2 approaches to it for running a team successfully. You can spend the revenue that you make, and that funnels in. This gives you now an option to buy more players, get the best managers, upgrade your facilities, get in the recruitment that you need to, being the notable characters or members with this expertise, lawyers, whatever. And the other option is to have your fund or your owner fund the team. So with whatever cash they have on hand, they're able to invest that into the team. Now, he did a great example of saying, if a Blackpool or a Grimsby were to follow the model that United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool do, where they invest their revenue into the club, you can only get to a certain ceiling. That's it. If I'm in Division 4 and I just invest everything that I've gotten from my ticket sales, my shirt sales, my food that I'm selling on the day, I'm going to make a profit, but it's not going to be astronomical. I'm not going to go into the Premier League and buy João Cancelo. It's not possible. It just isn't realistic at all. So there needs to be some kind of allowance for owners to fund their teams. But in saying that, there needs to be a level of compliance and some kind of middle ground in which people can invest. I think that should be the way in which we move, so that there is an opportunity for smaller clubs to challenge the current hierarchy of English football. So the news was disappointing for me. I do think it's going to carry on for years and years and years and years. It's always going to be the City or cheats, City or the chic daddies of the club, and they're just lucky if they...
Can I ask you this, though? So would you then, as a City fan, the club that you love, what would be if they're found guilty on all accounts, or even on 50% of the accounts, which is like 50 occasions, right? What would you think would be a fair... This retrospective title thing is rubbish. I don't think that's
I don't
agree with that. But what is a fair punishment
that makes much
in this
sense.
case?
I would say transfer ban. Call it 2 seasons, not 2 windows. 2 seasons. Transfer ban. Expulsion from the league sounds severe. There's even a song now about it. City going down with $1 billion in the bank. City going... Could go down with $1 billion in the bank. See Haaland, if he stays around, to score 600 goals in a season. That kind of thing. It makes for great entertainment, I'm not going to lie. But seriously, I think transfer ban, a fine, and possibly relegation, possibly championship.
Okay.
I think for a lot of the City fans, and now I'm talking the City fans who are there since birth, those guys are like, you know what? I don't mind. I think if we found guilty, we go down with the team, that's fine. We'll start again. We were there before. It's not like we have no experience in it already. We went down, not only championship, but down further, League 2, and we can come up again. But the fact that, I think in a positive, that will then filter out what do you call it? The plastics, as to be. But understandably, there needs to be justice brought to City if all of these allegations are proven true. And I think, notably, not only City, I think there needs to be deep investigation into everyone in the Premier League. It's the Super League. You and I spoke about this previously. It is the Super League. It's where there are crazy amounts of money being splurged around, and I don't think it should be a tit for tat. Like, oh, look, you guys are pointing all fingers at City. Have a look at yourselves. What about Chelsea? What about Liverpool? But I do think there needs to be a lot more, or a lot better governance of finances just in general around the Premier League.
Well, the timing does seem quite peculiar. Not peculiar. Firstly, I think, and maybe we're talking about this longer than we planned, and it's not so Valentine's Day. But anyway, we can do what we want. I think it's peculiar in a couple of ways, in that I feel like the Premier League is a brand in itself, right? And they are kind of taking a risk with this whole thing, because if they can't just give a fine, because fining City is like pouring water on a duck, right? It's going to have no impact. There's actually no realistic amount of money that you could fine City that would really cripple them. And I mean, if you're talking like £1 billion, it's different, but they'll never become a fine that big. So the fining thing doesn't make sense to me so much. The transfer ban, I think, okay. I think where it's also peculiar is that I think they feel confident that they can get them. This investigation's been going on for like 4 years. And because it's a brand and they need to protect themselves, they'll look like fools if it comes out, like if City manages to get out of it, right? I think the Premier League itself, which is the biggest brand in sport, I would say, it really won't look good. So I think they're confident that they can get them. But the other thing that made me think is quite peculiar is that it does also feel like a warning shot to the Chelseas, although Todd Bowley as a capitalist will want to make money. City, sometimes it feels like they can just sink money because that's not where they get their money from. But I think at some point Todd Bowley's going to want his money back, so it's maybe a little bit different. But it feels like a warning shot to like, okay, so Newcastle, your new owners, be careful, this is what can happen. There's Qatar is looking into buying Man United. If that comes through, it's like, be careful, this is what can happen. Even Todd Bowley as an American capitalist, be careful, mate, like we're serious about our punishments. And it kind of just feels like the two things happening at the same time. Kind of makes sense to me. I think what you said is fair. If it is true, I think I hate to say it because they actually do make the Premier League a better place, but they should be relegated. A season down seems fair. Expulsion from the whole league, I think that means going back down to League 2. That's harsh. But again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I just wanted to chat to you and just ask you your kind of feelings on that.
Yeah, I think it is a bit of a witch hunt, slightly. I think City have always been, and I understand there being a look into it, and I understand a lot of rival fans are like, you guys just have this endless pot of money, seemingly, where you can just buy everything. And I do think that in order to be successful, you have to spend money. 100%.
Yeah.
And again, our conversation of last week was, if you have the means, you're going to do it. If I gave you, Tyler, the Arsenal manager, he has 365 million pounds, go and buy 10 players, you're going to do it. You're going to be like, actually, I'll save that. I'll take the 50 mil player and I'll keep that. But I do think there needs to be a big level of scrutiny across the entire Premier League. But there's, I guess, one of those lessons where you're found guilty, get relegated, have the transfer ban, whatever it is. I think the plus side is that tickets will be cheaper. I'd be able to buy cheaper tickets.
Fair play, but you're going to go watch them play.
Away. Nice. I won't have to play Spurs away and not score in the stadium for 5 years. So there are benefits. There are benefits to this, man.
Oh, nice one. Okay, so that was cool. I enjoyed that chat. So let's do the last thing. Not a wholesome moment this week, but a quote that I found on the theme of kind of love. We also got to know that there are, I hate to say it, but there's haters out there who
haterade.
They are who they do what they do, and it's no problem. But I just wanted to actually, there's two quotes that I think will go hand in hand here. That I think will really, really work out nicely if I read them in tangent. For the haters out there, and this is for the people that have haters. Just remember, 80% of the people who hear your troubles don't care. And the other 20% are glad that you're having them.
Yeah.
And to go hand in hand with that, just to kind of not have it on a bad note, all suffering is caused by being in the wrong place. If you're unhappy where you are, then move. I just think it's those two things together, like, I hate to say, and I'm not a cynical person, but people that are hating on you do want to see you fail. But if you feel unhappy, you just got to get up and you got to move, And that's kind of all I wanted to say.
Big facts, man. And that's the thing. They just hate you because they ain't you. It's rough. It's rough out here, bro. It's rough. Let those snakes do their snaking. But you, focus on you. Keep doing you.
Yep.
And you're going to succeed, man. Honestly.
Yep.
That's some great advice.
While you're on your road to success, if you don't mind liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel, we'd really appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
We do. I think we got in a decent analytics team now that can see who likes, comments, and shares. So thank you to the analytics team. We'll be sure to rifle down that list and just see exactly who's been supporting, who's been doing their bit for the pod.
But on the real, we really appreciate everything that you guys do, being a part of it with the journey. Hopefully we make you laugh a bit. Hopefully we make you think a bit. And all those things. If we don't, come back next week and see if we can do it then. It's just about having fun and it's been cool. And I think for me, that's a wrap on episode 18. Tev, anything else?
I just want to say thank you again. If you don't like something that we're doing, let us know. Pop us a DM. You know where to reach us. We have all our social channels below. So you can catch each and everything that you might have missed out. And if you want to catch up on anything we've done previously, go to our YouTube, go to our website. You can find everything there.
For sure.
Thanks again for being with us on this episode. And we'll see you in episode 19.
See you later.
Peace.